Zero gravity platforming and an otter with a gun. That's the combo I've got in store for you today with Space Otter Charlie. This is a fantastic indie puzzle platformer with plenty of guns to be had too. It's PC that you're seeing on your screen, but it's also available on consoles too. And this was a joy to play. You play Space Otter Charlie as a projectile with a jetpack, if that makes sense. So he's got sticky feet and he'll stick to any platform that he hits. So what you do is you move and decide where you want to go with the left analog stick. Then you press a button and he'll kind of push himself off from that place and he'll keep going until he hits a surface. However, you have this upgradable jetpack that then allows you to have movement and momentum. So if you're going in the wrong direction, you can kind of steer yourself and push yourself back. And as the jetpack gets upgraded over time, you start to move away a little bit from bouncing from wall to wall to really being able to just scoot around quite happily and freely with your jetpack so that you have real fluid 360-degree motion and propellation. The jetpack will restore its fuel over time, so you just need to leave it alone for a few seconds and it will restock back up again. So it's a very light and simple mechanic, which means that it's not a hardcore platformer and it's actually quite accessible to a lot of people, I'd say. Outside of that, each level takes place on a spaceship, and a spaceship is made up of several rooms. Each room will usually have one or two puzzles which will let you collect a key that you then use to unlock the next levels. Collect all the keys and you are able to escape the ship or face the boss of that specific ship as you go along. As you're doing this, you'll be using your weapons quite often to solve puzzles, and each ship will quite often unlock a new type of gun for you to play with. So firstly, it might just be that you're dealing with parkour and getting around and avoiding lasers. And quite often with lasers, they're being shot at from an eye, and if the eye can see you, it will start to close up all of the doors. So what you'll be doing is shooting space debris in the way of the eye to kind of block the eye of sight so that you can sneak around and get through different rooms and solve puzzles that way. The other way how you can do it is with the reflector gun, and the reflector gun will bounce its ammo off of metal surfaces, and quite often you'll use this to be shooting switches that are around a corner that's inaccessible to you, or through tiny gaps that you just simply can't get through. The beauty of this is that each ship normally offers up a new gun, which therefore offers up a new mechanic for you to play with. And this is often then exploited with the bosses at the end of ships, of the kind of main game. There's lots of extra ships that you can explore for bonus extras. But on the main stuff, you've got a boss that will go on at the end, and it will normally utilise the new gun that you've unlocked, and it will go from shooting lots and lots of tiny enemies that are coming at you in hordes, then trying to duck and avoid what's going on with the boss, and then using your new weapon to its great effect to cause damage. Really well thought out boss battles, different every time, and plenty of personality and fun to boot. Outside of that, you will also be killing just smaller enemies to collect scrap. And that scrap then allows you to upgrade your weapons that you've got, but also as you're going through levels, you'll collect blueprints to unlock more weapons, more shield upgrades, more upgrades to your jetpack, for example, as well. You do this by then going to see the builder bot either on your ship or during a level, and then you'll spend all of the different scrap that you've collected throughout the different levels, and that's where warranting going off and either replaying levels again if you've not collected scrap as you've gone along, or trying out some of the bonus side quest missions will warrant you and reward you with getting that loot that then makes your otter much more utterly terrifying for the competitors and the enemies that you have. And I'm sorry for that pun. As soon as that came out my mouth, I knew it was a wrong thing to say. Oh dear. The game itself lasts for several hours and there's plenty of content in there to be had. But what I really liked was that it feels like it's a full proper game and there's plenty to do. But the failure element of it is quite heavily negated by checkpoints being very, very close to wherever you last kicked off and killed yourself, but also you can go back and replay missions, collect that scrap, and almost like pre-tank yourself if you're not very good at these types of games. So it negates the difficulty of the actual game itself if you want it to. But there is still a fairly decent challenge here too. I also like the fact that you can then also buy and find and unlock different suits, and each suit has its own unique weapon as well. So for instance, I unlocked a shark suit quite early on, and that then gave me the ability to have a spread shot, which is really handy for dealing with hordes of enemies. You've also got the power up of the sea urchin, which lets you kind of go mega hyper hard for a few seconds, and you can go and shoot everyone and basically be invincible. And that's all good fun too. All of these different suits and shots and modes then carry through into the multiplayer mode if you've got friends to play with. And here you can have up to 4 players in an arena battle fighting for food in the So Urchin mode. Or you can just go to the death with Deathmatch in Furry Fury. It's a great little extra to have. It's not going to be the most depth and in detailed multiplayer battle match that you've ever had, but I would say that it actually does rival some of the standalone indie deathmatch arena battlers that we've got out there at the moment, so hats off to the developer for including it. But my main kind of takeaway from Space Otter Charlie was just how moorish and fun the game was to have. Whilst it does lack a little bit in terms of visual changes, at least early on in the game, it starts to change much more later on as you get deeper into space. I just found the game to be really rewarding, engrossing, fun to play, easy to pick up once you got past that initial "this is how 0G works." And it reminded me of good 2D platformers from the 16-bit era, the Mega Drives, where things could just be fun without having to give you some kind of like moral compass and big decisions and wowie effects and everything. You could just go blast some lasers, fly around the screen and enjoy yourself, and be rewarded constantly over and over again with just the fun factor of basically freewheeling your way around this platform adventure. So that's Space Otter Charlie, thoroughly recommended, great example of indie games carrying the torch for fun in gaming still, and it's out now on all the platforms. So yeah, this looks like it's going to be up your street. Go grab, recommended. Written review will be over on higherplanegames.com very shortly. Until then, take care. Higher Plane Games is part of the Higher Plane Network, a completely independent media outlet supported by people like you. The goal is to create the best possible content that cultivates a richer indie scene for games as well as music and entertainment. To find out more and to get involved, visit patreon.com/higherplane network. Your support makes all the difference, and in return you'll gain access to bonus content and downloads. Thank you for watching.